أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. You will rarely find a person that has achieved a great amount of success in his life, in his business, in his family life, has achieved prosperity and success without a proper education. This is very rare. Yes, you might find a couple of outliers, a couple of examples from here and there, that they became prosperous and rich and famous and successful without an education. But this is extremely rare. Most of the people that are well accomplished, well established, that are prosperous, that are rich, they're famous, they're successful individuals, influential individuals. You will notice what they have in common with other successful members from their community and other communities is that they had a good education. They had a quality education. They went to college. They went to university. They have a degree. They have several degrees. And they became prosperous. They became successful. Look at the most advanced countries in the world. You will see that they have the best universities as well. You will rarely find a government or a country that is advanced from all points, militarily, economically, politically. They have stability, but they don't have good universities. This is very rare. The countries with the best universities and the best educational systems, the best schools, are usually the most advanced countries. And the countries that are the most backward and behind, they lack politically and economically and militarily and socially from all aspects. Look at their educational system, you will see that they have the worst educational systems. They have the worst universities. You know, in the Middle East, in the Arab world, in the Arabic world, out of the best 500 best universities, there's not a single university from the Arab world. Except last year, exactly a year ago, during محرم, the University of Baghdad entered the best 500 universities in the world. This is only last year. Baghdad University. From the Arabic world, yes, in Tehran, you have a university called San'ati Sharif. It's one of the best. But from the Arabic world, we don't have universities that have made it to the top 500 universities of the world. And it's not a surprise. Look at our status. Look at the situation in the Middle East. You can judge a country, its educational status, from its political status, from its political standing, from its economic standing, from its military standing. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. My dear friends, you have been given an opportunity. For those of you that live here in the West, you live in Canada, you live in the United States, you live in the UK, in New Zealand, in Australia, any part of the Western world, this is an opportunity. This is a gift. Hundreds of thousands of people would take your shoes, would fill in your shoes, would love to be in your place. There are people that sank, they drowned trying to come here, trying to reach Europe and have the opportunities that you have. People were willing to risk their lives and the lives of their children. You have an opportunity. You live in a country, you live in a civilization where there's the best universities. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of this. Make use of this. Make sure that your children are sent to the best universities. Don't allow your youth to slack off. If there's a youth here slacking off, not going to college, not going to university, he's wasting his life. She's wasting her life. It's the land of opportunity. You have the best educational system. You have the best universities. Go to them. Don't settle for anything less. Anything less than the best. Yes, there might be some local universities in your city. You should not be complacent with any ordinary university. Go to the best. Go to the best of the best. Here, either in Canada or in the United States, encourage your youth to apply to the best universities. Let them apply to Harvard. Let them apply to Stanford. Let them apply to Yale. Let them apply to Berkeley and other top universities. And here in Canada, I don't know which are the top universities here in Canada. I lived in the US, so I know about the US. In the UK, you have Cambridge, you have Oxford. Let's send our children to the best universities. You know, the Jewish community, they don't let their children go to ordinary universities, local universities. They send their children to the best and top universities, even if it costs. It's worth it. Even if you have to take a loan for your children, for the future of your children, it's worth it. Get a loan and send them to the best universities. And for the youth, don't say that I can't make it. I can't make it to this university or that university. No, you can. You can. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. With a strong will and with determination, if you study for your exams and you aim high and you ask Allah for help, tawakkul ala Allah, you will make it to the best of the universities. Don't suffice with ordinary schools. Not just colleges and universities, even high schools. If there are top high schools in your community, in your city, send your children to the best schools. We need Muslims in the best universities to rank high. Think of it this way. When you have a good education, you'll end up with a great job. If you have a great job, you'll be making a lot of money. If you're making a lot of money, you can benefit your community. You can benefit Islam. You can sponsor Islamic causes and support Islamic causes. You can support your Muslim community, your local mosque, Islamic center, Islamic school. Even if you don't want money for yourself, think of it as giving back to your community. So aim high. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Also, when you go to those universities, be active. Be active in your club, in your MSA. If you have an Ahl al-Bayt association, be active. When you're in college, don't just go to study. Studying is good, but also be active on campus. Take part in Islamic activities. Hold conferences, seminars. Work with other Sunni students. Sunni and Shia students should work together. Hold events for non-Muslim students. Clarify what Islam is all about. Clarify that ISIS does not represent Islam. Have events during the month of Muharram, during the event of Ashura. Hold an event on campus, at your university. Shia students, all of them, in the West, they must have an event on campus during Muharram and during Ashura. And even during Arba'een. Let people know what Arba'een is all about. 20 million people go walking. They go walking. Some from Basra all the way to Karbala, 400 kilometers. They go walking. Let the people know. Let the world know. Hold events at your campus. When you go to school, ilm and amal. Seek knowledge and be active at the same time. Don't be lazy. Don't say there's other students that will take care of these events. There's enough students in the MSA. There's enough students being active in the Ahl al-Bayt Association. No, you take initiative. You also be active. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Also, my dear friends, on the topic of Islam and academia, and this is what I feel is part of Islamic activism in the West, we need local houses in every city. In every city. In every local mosque, in every mosque, at every Islamic center, we need a small hawza that teaches at least the simple classes of hawza. Arabic grammar, a class on tafsir, a class on fiqh, a class on usul al-fiqh, a class on aqaid, a class on seerah, a class on hadith. This has to exist in every community, in every local Islamic center. Encourage the imam of your Islamic center to teach hawza lessons, either early in the morning or late in the evening when you come back from school, when you come back from work, or on the weekend. Every community has to have some hawza lessons, even if they're basic. This is important for our youth, to educate themselves, to have a basic understanding of Islam. These lectures and these majalis are fantastic, but they're not enough. You only come 10 days in Muharram and a couple of nights in Ramadan. This is not sufficient for your Islamic knowledge, especially when you become parents. Maybe you don't realize it today, but tomorrow you'll be married and you'll have children, and your children will ask difficult questions. How did we come into being? Who created us? If God created us, who created God? How was He before? How will He be forever? You need answers for these questions. And kids nowadays, they're becoming smarter and smarter. They ask difficult questions. In addition to the fact that today in schools, public schools, there are topics that are very sensitive. You have to be equipped with the right information, with the right knowledge to teach them. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Also, my dear friends, we have to pursue and encourage and support Islamic studies programs at our universities and Shi'i studies programs at our universities. There's Islamic studies, right? The West has been studying Islam for centuries now. It began in France and Germany, and then in the UK, and then here in America and Canada. Islam is being studied and taught and researched at the university level. How many students do we have? How many youth do we have that have gone into Islamic studies and Shi'i studies? Very few. Most of our youth, they either want to become doctors or engineers or lawyers. The vast majority. Yes, you have some that want to go into journalism or they choose something else. But the vast majority, they choose these three fields. Well, we have other fields. We have Islamic studies. Why don't you think of getting a master's degree and a PhD in Islamic studies, and better yet, in Shi'i studies? This is very important. Why? Because who is teaching Islam at the local level at universities? Who? A Muslim and a Shi'i? No. Usually it's either a Christian or a Jew. And hopefully they're objective. They don't have a bias. But imagine if they had a bias and they're teaching Islam to their students with a bias against Islam. Their prejudice against Islam. This is important. A whole generation of Western students are being raised. They're being educated by someone who has a bias against Islam and a bias against Shi'ism. We have to go into Islamic studies. Our youth have to go into Shi'i studies. Get your master's degree, get your PhD, and get a teaching position. You teach Islam. You who doesn't have a bias against Islam, you teach Islamic studies. Also, we, the Shi'i community, we have to be active. We have to sponsor Islamic studies departments and chairs. Let me tell you something. Most of the Islamic studies departments here in the West, in the US, in the UK, Harvard has an Islamic studies department. Stanford has an Islamic studies department. Oxford and Cambridge have Islamic studies department. But do you know who's sponsoring them? Do you know who's paying the bills and who's sponsoring them? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is sponsoring them. Now, do you think that these centers of Islamic studies, these professors, do you think they will publish anything against Wahhabism? Of course not, because their paycheck will stop. You will cater to the person who's paying your paycheck. That is why here in the Western world, there's not a riot against Wahhabism. Why? Because Islamic studies professors and departments, they're not speaking out against Wahhabism. We need Shi'i communities. We need Shi'i scholars and maraja'. We need the hawza. We need the religious institution to support Shi'i studies and Islamic studies at universities. Because when we sponsor, when we support, they will produce academia in our favor instead of attacking us. And this is what's happening in a lot of academic work. Instead of attacking us, they will be unbiased. This encourages us to go into academia. First of all, we send our youth to study Islam at the university level and to become professors of Islamic studies. This is one. Two, my dear friends, we have wealth and we have money. The Shi'i community in the West is not poor. We are not poor. We have enough money. Let's establish Shi'i chairs, Shi'i studies chairs and departments. We start locally. You can start here in Toronto. And those that are in London can start in London. And those that are in Los Angeles can start in Los Angeles. And those that are in New York can start in New York. We start locally at our universities. This is very important. If we want to support Islam in this country, we have to work at universities. We have to have academic activities and academic work. Majalis are good. Husayniyat are good, but it's not enough. Coming to the majalis and coming to a Husayniyah is an excellent deed, but it's definitely not enough. If we want to advance the cause of Islam in this nation and the West, we have to work on campus at universities by promoting Islamic studies and Shi'i studies at campuses. Imam Hussein alayhi salam in the ziyarah of Arba'in is coming. I ask Allah to grant us the ziyarah of Arba'in. This beautiful ziyarah. In the ziyarah of Imam Hussein in Arba'in, Imam al-Sadiq says, وَبَذَلَ مُحْجَتَهُ فِيكَ لِيَسْتَنْقِذَ عِبَادَكَ مِنَ الْجَهَالَةِ وَمِنْ حَيْرَةِ الضَّلَالَةِ. One of the jobs of Imam Hussein, one of the accomplishments of Imam Hussein is that he educated the people with his blood. He opened people's eyes. People thought that Bani Umayyah were the representatives of Rasulullah. They represented Rasulullah. He opened their eyes. He educated them. The job of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was to educate. He educated through his blood. And this is our job as well. When we come to the majalis of Imam Hussein, we learn from him to educate. To educate people about Islam. To educate the Western world about Islam, the universities and college campuses. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.